So, welcome to another episode of Cryptotalks. This one, for me, is always on a challenge to make it every day. So, we don't know, because this is the live format, so we don't know on how and where and how things, and then we are challenged to produce on weekly basis. I see Tay in the background. Hi, Tay. Hope you're good.
تحياتي لك رودي. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. All is good. Week 30 or week 29 actually was an interesting week, just like any other in the crypto space. We're gonna go shortly in some important weekly updates.
Yeah. Seeing the news today, I think they are exciting. I was just recording a podcast, so I had to run and then close the podcast and run away to find a location. It was a challenge to find a location. Actually, today I'm in my car, exceptionally, uh, trying to make it. So anyhow, let's go a little bit the usual format, as you always. We try to bring to you the most important part for us is the section of crypto fraud. Always make sure that you are protected whatever you do, since the age of fast, quick money is here. With quick money and quick, easy way out, which is written by contracts and algorithms, things tend to take another toll. And then scammers that they were always there, but now they have new ways to and faster ways to take advantage of. I received an email, funny, to reset my password from Binance itself, but it is for sure not from Binance. And then I received another email. I don't know if I still have it here. Let me see. No, I lost it, but I did save it. I will try to share it later on. Also, opening communication with somebody who's into the crypto business, hoping that I can click on the email and on the link. But again, their tactic failed. So be careful of impersonation. And so we're again happy to be partners with this blockchain congress, global blockchain congress, that's happening in London on July 24 and 25. We have digital transformation banking summit in August, and then Metagate that is currently, I think, being pushed to January from September. So we will keep you posted. Anyhow, Tay, the floor is yours, and here we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. On week 29 in crypto, of course, we celebrated this week the famous news of Ripple winning the case against the SEC. It reflected in the prices immediately, and we were all happily cheering for a 70% wick in Ripple itself. XRP did a all-time high this week with 69% or almost 70% profits, and all-time high not in the price of Ripple but in the price of uh, coins that made gains in week 29. So XRP 70% gain. It is trading now at 0.80 dollar cents. Bitcoin is retracing 29,875. We saw Bitcoin make an all-time high for this week as well, 31,700, but it was not a good continuation of this momentum, and prices retraced, giving us a 3% decline in its current price. Now, with all this happening, it was interesting as well to see that there's still capital inflowing to Bitcoin and to Ethereum specifically. There is a inflow into digital assets. This reminds us of the inflows on 2016 and 2019. where the slow and steady inflows came before a expected or much anticipated bull market at that time. So that being said, there were some good momentum to uh, pick up the fall of Bitcoin and the fall of many of the altcoins in the past months. So what we saw from a uh, chart analysis, we looked at a choppy and sideways market. Much of it mimics and resembles the conditions that we saw between 2016, 2019, and 2020. So we can start our news for this week with the first mover Asia. Sorry, for the first Asia mover advantage that happened with the XRP, and in that sense, we, I mean, it was a unbelievable outcome for XRP. The analysts were all eyeing their trades on that specific event, and on the opposite side of Ripple, we had the SEC rejecting BTC spot applications. So this gave the support for the rejection of the SEC. And here we're talking about the support that Ripple gave. But at the end, it couldn't sustain for a long time, and sooner or later, the prices now they're just dropping below $30,000. As much as now the touch with regulation is happening more and more, and hopefully for good reasons. In the past, we were seeing our intersection or our channel of communication with the regulator were mostly centered around fighting scams or busting scams or cleaning up after messes and scams. Now there is serious talk in integrating and managing and incorporating cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, into day-to-day lives, into the economy. And this is what actually Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is vowing to back the US dollar with Bitcoin if elected president. And this is somehow like a resemblance of backing the US dollar with gold and all the agreements that were made in the past. Bretton Woods Agreement, for one, where the decision to back US dollar with gold was made. So now Kennedy is somehow, bringing that history back in, and this.
Similar to Nixon times, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes. I wouldn't expect. I mean, Nixon did completely opposite. He decoupled the US dollar from a stable asset like gold, and they introduced then the fiat currency standard, and voila, we have today a floating piece of paper that is backed by politics and war. So with this, what Robert Kennedy Jr. is trying to bring, perhaps, is the backing of US dollar to digital gold instead of physical gold. Still, he has a long way, and it's a long way to fight for it. Yet, being a Kennedy, I think he might start off something here. Interesting is how people were, or the opposite camp of Bitcoin was trying to shoot at Kennedy, and we are not talking about Ethereum, but the non-cryptocurrency supporters. They were shooting at Robert Kennedy, saying, "Hey, although you declared you don't have any exposure to Bitcoin in one of your speeches, yet you own up to $250,000 worth of Bitcoin." Well, at least for me, this is a guy who owns it, who uses it, and who puts his value and his work. And so I would support such a move, but again, it would be a long way forward. Um, Speaking of the scams and the touch with the regulators, that has been always in a negative or dark spotlight. The former Celsius CEO, he was arrested last week, and this week he was freed on a $40 million bond. And this coincided when the XRP and the altcoins started to rise in price. The former CEO is, I believe, of Russian origins, and there is a huge conflict open now in Celsius on how to recoup the bad debt that has happened, and their obligations to the token holders and to the investors that they had. And one of the prominent Bitcoin figures as well, from Bank or Unbank the Future, is on the forefront of such legal litigation. On a total new page, and from the other side of the world, in the Philippines, we saw a new type of event hosting being implemented, where it leverages the best of the Web 2 and the Web 3 worlds to shape the future of basically events and digital transformation, where they are going, or the group is called AAG, and they are going to launch a affiliate program for their events, and they're as well going to invite KOLs with more than 6 million people in base followers, such as like Lazada, Gcash, Dito. They are going to come and share their latest Web3 trends. But the nice thing is the targeted communities that they're running after mostly are the ones who are spending a lot of time online on their smartphones. They have access to funds and to cryptocurrencies through local payment methods. So by bringing events live to their screens for their favorite NFT artists, for their favorite crypto personas, they're able to monetize a new type of audience that did not exist in the physical world. So many of us, for example, would love to attend a conference in Dubai, but yeah, either the time or the restrictions, whether it's financial restrictions or geographic restrictions or visa restrictions or whatever type of restriction you're facing, you're able today to join events and meet your fans and meet your uh, people you love in the crypto space through such type of infrastructure. And speaking of infrastructure, when a country's infrastructure is basically seized by international sanctions, there is barriers to entry to your market. There is somehow a restriction on funds outflows, funds inflows. Crypto is the best way of breaking those barriers, and that's what Russia is realizing. And this is why they're pushing for their digital ruble pilot. Again, how is it realistic? I don't think so. It is more of a propaganda to divert the attention on more important matters to the ruble now than going digital with it, especially if it's not used outside the normal world, because the digital world somehow its growth and its acceptance is affected by what we, the natural citizens, decide. So if the world decides to use a digital ruble, yeah, so be it, we can use it. But looking at the motives, incentives, and the current structure of Russia, I do not assume that this is possible to happen. Although the legislation could be approved, but if there's no adoption on the ground, nothing will happen. So, lesson learned from such an event is you need both sides of the party. You need the regulator and you need the adoption to be on the same table and on the same scale in order for this crypto product or crypto offering to move forward. Or else the clash between the two will result in hindering its growth and uh, exhausting resources to make it happen. Last and the most important news for this week Societe Generale, one of France's top leading banks, they are applying for a crypto license, or they have obtained their first crypto license, according to Reuters. So, although Binance has invested heavily in France with a $100 million investment in Station F, where they were supposed to help in incubating projects and invest in crypto projects and open the crypto infrastructure in France, they are facing a big backlash in Europe. They are out of Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. And rumors are there is some sort of legal litigation with them in France. So, who stepped up to fill this space? We're seeing today banks slowly opening up and filling the space of the need for high net worth individuals, for businesses, for people with access to capital, in order so that they can be the custodians of the money, and we mean by the bank or Binance or whoever is the custodian is. This was the target plan. With Binance falling down or taking a step back, now banks have come forward and said, yeah, we want to provide those solutions. Although those were the same institutions that were basically having a conflict with crypto and naming it all sorts of bad names, from enabling money laundering to pedophilia and more. So, with this French bank coming up and obtaining a crypto license, now they can offer crypto custody to their clients, to their businesses, and to the financial infrastructure that they work for. So, the crypto unit is called Forge and is licensed as of Tuesday to offer services including cryptocurrency, trading, and sales. This is according to the website as well on the French IMF market regulator. With this, Rudy, we end our news for this week, and I get back to you.
Yeah, I think starting by the last news, it's very important what's happening on the global footprint of regulations and adoption. We've seen BlackRock last week, and then we've seen JP Morgan, and now we're seeing Societe Generale going into the space. So it seems that fear is no longer about, it's just a financial instrument. It goes up and down. So they are entering, and then even BlackRock creating products, ETFs on this. So I love this part where what do you call it? The adoption part, where they are more and more, and we're talking here about multi-billion and trillion-dollar companies. It's not
Absolutely.
just
Absolutely.
so how can we benefit out of this? The fear factor, the global fear factor, removing the scam, and everything else for the perception of people. Because the minute you say crypto, it's all about scams, it's all about,
Absolutely.
well, others are making money, big time money out of this. So
And this is just like any other industry, Rudy, that in the beginning it is full of bad actors, scammers, and you know, events that would not ever think this platform you're working with or thing you're working with could scale up. Internet is the biggest example. And the early days of the internet, it was full of scam pages and scam advertisements and porn solicitations, sex solicitations. This was the internet in between 1984 till I say 1995. Later, things changed with the appearance of www, and communication happened more, and people started to believe more and more with the internet, and that this is a viable technology. Same thing will happen in crypto. We have to go through this pain. Even this is translated in investments. This week or this quarter, I would say $109 million only flowed in crypto space as an investment, like investment companies. So this is a pretty low number. looking at the total market cap and looking at the previous all-time highs and the previous amounts of money that were flowing into the sector. There is a big responsibility on the startups, on the people running in the space, to bring some value to their communities and bring a utility that really serves well and is reasonable and makes sense for the users. Uh, but I'm still pretty bullish on what's to come in the next few years.
Indeed, indeed. We have a couple of comments and questions. Lama says XRP is good win, but we're waiting for years for the times 2.5 is bull. Well, good comment. What can we say?
Yeah, that's. I mean, now people are happy with 2.5. Some are still looking for the 100x and the 50x and the 10x. Uh, this was merely, I would say, a gamble. If you bought Ripple at zero point 0.3, 0.2, the prices that it was in the lows it was in previously, yeah, then you made a good
It's a
profit.
black and white roulette gamble,
Yeah, I
not
mean,
more.
I will شوف, Rudy. The
Double
thing
your
is,
money.
the thing is, if you have been, let's say, just following our sessions on a weekly basis, yeah, for this year at least, for 2023, you would understand and analyze that there is a regulatory pressure happening from the United States till all around the globe when it comes to crypto, and it cannot be always um, like unnoticed. You cannot hide crypto anymore. You cannot hide this big elephant. In the case of SEC, what they did was a very smart ruling that said if you sold tokens to an institution directly, this is securities. If you bring a 5 years old who understands a little bit in finance and you tell him you're gonna sell something, not crypto, you're gonna sell something directly to a company, and the law immediately will tell you, hey, you're participating in securities because you're promising the profit on owning. Now, if you're doing it on an exchange and you're selling to retailers, that's not a security. And this is what the ruling came out with. So because XRP was sold on exchanges directly to retailers, this did not rule this did not have the securities rule on it. And it didn't affect only Ripple, it affected all other coins that were mentioned in the previous SEC rulings. So if you were watching our channel from the beginning of the year until now, you would know that there is a regulatory pressure. You would know on which coins there are regulatory pressure, and you would know that hey, it's coming soon that the XRP judge will announce his verdict, because we covered that as well in the current news. So once you have those three things to forecast on, you're able to put somehow calculated guesses. Personally, I expected this to come out in a positive verdict. Why? Because there has been so much negative news from the regulator in the past that some good things need to happen logically on a logical basis, and on a more technical and knowledge basis, that yes, if you're selling tokens and you were promising your profit coming from the future ownership of this investment, this is deemed securities. So we also at Flus did not sell directly to investment companies. So we didn't go to Capital ABC and sold them tokens and got money from them and then listed on exchanges. No, we raised our money directly from retail and on exchanges. So this is a, um, a good example, and many examples like Litecoin halving coming up soon, Bitcoin halving next year, uh, if you are aware of the dates and aware of the activity, this is your opportunity, not to make maybe 2.5x, but just to make money. If you don't take action, the money won't come.
Yeah, indeed. But for me, it makes me wonder why BlackRock can get licensing for their product under 1 week and a reply under another week, and Ripple stays for 5 6 years now.
Of
Uh,
course, man.
I don't
You're,
know.
you're, you're, I mean, Ripple, for us, Ripple in the crypto space is a big name, is something that we look up to. But comparing between BlackRock and Ripple, there is a huge difference in terms of experience, market caps, manpower, legal power. This is BlackRock.
That's a different game.
Yeah, it's a. But look, again, same thing repeats in previous years. First, they said Bitcoin is for crooks and criminals. Then they say, hey, we might take a look at that, but it spends too much energy. And what's the latest recommendations from from BlackRock CEO? That we need to apply for a Bitcoin ETF spot market. We need to invest in Bitcoin. We need to buy Bitcoin. We need to offer it to our clients. So this is where we're saying you cannot hide it anymore. If CEO of BlackRock is talking about it publicly, everyone is talking about it publicly. It's just how do we start? Where do we start from? Everybody's asking this question. Okay, I know that you convinced me Bitcoin is the thing, but where where do I start from? What do I do?
Indeed. We have another. Will Kennedy do it? Is it like El Salvador?
Yeah, there's nothing to compare with El Salvador, because El Salvador did it as well for a marketing stunt. El Salvador, the experiment, I would say, succeeded 60 to 70%. This doesn't downplay its importance. On the other hand, we should look at things as they really are. And did it really today improve the infrastructure, and did it really help people at this moment? No, we're looking at things that today they can make a difference, today they can make an impact, and not after 10, 15 years. 10, 15 years we can all make that, but today, what are you able to give us today that would change the situation? Unfortunately, El Salvador faced a lot of problems uh, in their attachment to Bitcoin. Um, but at least El Salvador did it. It's a one man show there. Kennedy is not a one man show.
Anyway, the last one is crazy news with Societe Generale. Yes, of course. More. That's what I talked about. More adoption and more adoption and more adoption. Yeah, much needed. Anyway, I'd like to end it here. Thank you, Tay, for being with us and supporting. And don't forget to follow Floos on Telegram and Tay to support also the mission of Tay in changing the world one Floos at a time.
Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, everyone. And our Telegram is at its flus, as it's written on the screen. Join us there. We are listed on Mexi. We're trading on Mexi. So join our Telegram group, get the latest updates, and see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you.